Oh my god, we're back for day 2 of Titan Week!
Your mother sucks cocks in hell!
Did you? I have a big announcement for you and everybody else. Brace yourselves, everybody. I'm wearing a zip-down hoodie. That can only mean one thing.
Oh my god! I survived Titan Week!
That's right, everybody. Titan Week is going on now. You can read the whole thing if I zip it down all the way.
Oh, KHANTENT!
KHANTENT, everybody. This is the new shirt we've got going specifically for Titan Week. Art by the man formerly known as Nexus Mania, now known as Kaiju-kun. Go buy one on the TeeSpring store right now as a promissory note, because when you buy an I Survived Titan Week shirt, you're committing to watching all our fucking episodes, and also you'll have a shirt to remember it by. So go do that. TeeSpring link down in the description right now. Survive Titan Week with us.
By the order now, and by the time it arrives, you will have.
That's exactly the point. Yeah. Buy it now so that you know you survive. Also, you can spend money by going to subscribestar.com/KHANTENT and pledging $10 for all our bonus episodes, one of which will be about Attack on Titan type things coming like tomorrow when this comes out or something. So go check that out. And I think there's something above us. Run for your lives! It's Titan Week! Hey kids, want to impress your friends and induce sexual arousal in your neighbors? KHANTENT t-shirts!
Wow, I've never been more impressed in my life with anything!
KHANTENT now has official t-shirt merchandise, and you can get yourself some by clicking below the video or in the TeeSpring link in the description. With designs like the classic KHANTENT logo.
Or this!
I've got a shirt on too.
Or this. KHANTENT! And right now, get yourself the I Survived Titan Week t-shirt. Unless you don't want to survive Titan Week, but hey, that's between you and Jesus. They're a great way to support the show and share your KHANTENT pride. So get out there, wear them, and get into KHANTENT.
Yeah, Levi. 大きくなったか？おめえもあんまり変わってねえな。ケニー！バキュー！
Here we are, baby. Our first real Season 3 Titan Week episode. We're in it.
Season 3. We're here. Things are happening. You can really feel that this is the season where the gears are moving.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting answers to questions. There's like shit hitting the fan. Our characters have turned against, or have been turned against by the government.
They're just rogue now, totally.
If there's any one line of dialogue that perfectly summarizes this set of 3 episodes, it's Commander Erwin saying, "It's time for us to go take down the government." And Praxis is just like, "I knew this was gonna happen."
Yeah,
so.
he's been planning to storm the Capitol for quite a while, and it's just the excuse he needed. So this series of episodes was possibly the most dense with content of any episode of the show so far, and it was 3 episodes. I was worried it was gonna be thin. It was not thin.
Particularly 2 and 3, because the first episode really did something that the show has never done before, and just took a step back and gave every single character clearly stated motivations, where like everyone like says out loud, my goal in the story is this. So you got like Historia.
Yeah.
Historia's goal is go save Ymir.
Well, actually, she comes to terms with like, Ymir made a choice, you know? I guess I'll just not go chase Ymir, actually. Quite the opposite.
I have to instead go become queen.
Something, yeah.
She's actually the queen, by the way. That's a reveal in this, or should be the queen.
The noble family she was a member of is the secret royal family all along. Oh my God. So
her mom got Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 1 over it.
She almost got Red Wedding herself. Luckily, I guess her dad's a little bit too much of a simp for your own daughter. Something like that. Imagine that. I would never. Imagine allowing your daughter to live. I would never, under any circumstances.
So then you've got Armin, who, God, what was Armin's goal?
Armin's thing is just be generically the smart one of the. I mean, we've got like our group of Connie, Sasha, Armin, Jean, we're with Levi. This is the thing, we're establishing the new Levi squad. The Levi squad got killed in season 2. They all died. Our characters, I guess this is what it's been building to. They are the new Levi squad, working with him specifically.
Right.
And they are pretty badass, so they're doing quite well so far.
I love that Eren is the only one who's like super serious about it, where he's like, he's been under this guy's tutelage before, had his ass kicked for not cleaning up properly, and is traumatized by it. He's like, guys, you don't understand. We gotta get this stuff clean before he gets here, or we're gonna get our ass.
Levi does his little finger under the bottom of the table, little bit of dust, and he freaks out. You know, I like this episode of season 3. Again, had it been like long years after season 2?
I don't think it had been nearly as long as the first game.
Yeah, but still, some amount of time, and this was like a comfy, coming back, remember all the characters. Yeah. Now, we're past the waves of everybody dying randomly. We've really cemented our main cast of characters, so I enjoyed just seeing them all being their personalities.
It was also that first 10 or 15 minutes has some of the best just character animation aside from fight scenes in the series, and the character models have just been subtly shifted to look good. Everything looks good now in a way it never quite did before to me. Now the show actually looks good.
If you compare this to some of the season 1 still frames where things are kind of janky with really thick outlines and stuff, some of it was not amazing looking, but now we're looking much better. But yeah, I mean, as you were saying, the issue here is now our squad is in charge of protecting our 2 super duper important assets, Historia, the true princess of the realm, as we find out, and Eren, the man who we just discovered has Titan commanding powers. Holy shit, we see now why he's the most important man on the planet and why they got to get him. And I forget when this happens, but we're now learning through deduction that Hanji figures out that the reason they probably wanted Eren so bad is because apparently they deduced this because of Ymir waking up by eating one of the Titan shifter friends of Reiner. Oh shit, if they get a Titan, one on their team, to just eat Eren, they probably will just get his powers. So, oh shit, we now know the specific goal they're probably trying to do. We know we can't let that happen or we lose the most powerful tool in the history of warfare, in Eren's fucking god powers. Yeah. So we gotta make sure that doesn't happen. Meanwhile, government conspiracy things are coming down around their heads because the fact that our characters are basically objectively good, they want to protect humanity, not let the walls fall, and their friends Eren and Krista or Historia keep alive, but the government has other plans as things just begin to snowball on that front.
So they start getting chased. Our main characters are kind of on the run. They do this in episode 2, or 1 leading into 2, this action scene where they have Armin and who was the guy?
Armin and Jean, who always pretends to be.
Okay, it was Jean.
Yeah,
I couldn't even fucking tell when he had the dyed hair.
That's a good job, I guess.
But yeah, the 2 of them dress up as Eren and Historia in order to get kidnapped. And
Armin gets full molested.
Yeah, and this leads to something kind of interesting, because in episode 2, there's a clever scene where, we see Armin get molested, and then there's a shot of him looking traumatized by the riverbank with Mikasa patting his back, which then flashes back to show us that he's actually traumatized because he just killed a human for the first time. A girl who was about to kill Jean, who was too afraid to pull the trigger. Armin pulled the fucking trigger because he is a badass.
Yeah.
And but I liked that they showed him being traumatized right beforehand to kind of imply at first I thought he was traumatized by the molestation, and so it was an interesting way to convey that idea without having that actually, while also having another traumatic thing at the same time.
That's true, and it's kind of clever that it kind of, because initially Mikasa specifically says in a comic sort of way, oh, I feel so bad for Armin, man, that doesn't look fun. But then when we see the real trauma that happens to Armin afterward, it's we've now trivialized that in kind of a clever way. So yeah, that was actually nice that they set it up that way.
Incidentally, that part where she says oh man, I feel sorry for Armin, Mikasa and Levi are on the roof, and she's like, we need to hurry up because they're on our tail and those guys are uncomfortable. By the way, how's your leg? Starts a conversation. Not always is the dialogue.
I did think Mikasa was awfully not hurried about someone she was just expressing concern for in a deep way, but okay, that's fine.
There's also a moment where with the the 3 thugs who have kidnapped the 2, they go and like get their boss, I guess, and come back, and the boss is coming in. And he's like, "Now you're sure it's Eren and Historia, right?" And they're like,
matched the
they
profile.
matched the profile, of course. It was like, I just thought it was so like funny that he'd be saying that as they walk in, like not immediately when they came to him, you know, like.
Yeah, they're not the best, but this sets up what's going on in the conflict here. There's like this group of like amateur kidnappers who are just doing this because, I mean, we don't know why, and then the military police who had like raided the compound where our characters were like the day before, are hot on their tail, and this is now the deep conflict. We had set up last season like Annie, or I guess that was season 1, but whatnot. The military police being like this corrupt, just protecting like the politicians and the nobles and the people on the inside, versus our characters who have, you know, loftier goals and whatnot. And now they're actively trying to capture Eren and Historia and murder everybody who gets in their way. And so there's these random, you know, kidnapper people, but more importantly, a new face steps onto the scene, leading this squadron, and it is ya boy, Kenny! In one of the most legendary meme yells of all time, with Levi, with his based and red-pilled Kenny yelling. Please edit that in. Just put that in. Kenny!
So this guy was not in the Levi OVA, right?
He was not. No, I'm sure they left him out on purpose.
But, no, why wasn't it about this guy?
Well, okay,
like,
I mean, I don't mind mentioning a little bit. I said when we talked about the OVA, like we showed a very specific window of Levi's life in that OVA. It was post when he had left Kenny, who apparently trained him as a young boy, after he established himself somewhere else.
So his story with Kenny is going to be why he was already a hard ass in the OVA, and
correct.
The OVA is just purely about why Levi and Erwin had arrived.
How they met, yeah. And by the way, I prepared some glam shots of our boy Kenny. Ooh, just looking dapper, looking beautiful.
That is pretty dapper.
Looking
this,
truthful. This is one of the weirder animation
I really
cuts.
hate his outfit, like this weird armor shit, this SAO armor that he's got on.
It's actually interesting.
He looks like a Gun Gale Online character. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's true. His outfit is actually kind of cool, though. And oh no, this you have to pay money to see more about this. We won't. And this is over. These happy days, those are gone now. Do you like this multimedia presentation I prepared, everybody? I hope you do. Anyway, I was saying Kenny's outfit is actually cool because it's kind of raising a distinction now about there's one of those little infographics as we cut to commercial and whatnot that are like, this is anti-personnel, anti-human armor they're wearing and anti-human weaponry, which is distinct from Titan hunting weaponry in a few ways.
So conceptually cool, not visually cool.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying. Because, you know, the giant blades that Mikasa and Levi are so skilled with, they're built for a very specific purpose of carving, you know, Titan giant slabs of flesh out of their necks. These like little guns would not really work on a Titan very well, but they give you huge advantage fighting humans. Ranged attacks, you know, you only need to hit them one time and you drop them. Yeah. So Kenny showing up here with a new weaponry.
Yeah, it is
cool.
actually kind of funny. There's a part where like, because when Levi first notices that that this guy's behind him, of course the girl he's with gets brained.
Yeah.
It was I think the first time somebody's just been like, shut, there's a mouse over there.
Nice.
It just went out. It's the first time I think
we're like Titans to that mouse, if you think about it. We are in our Titan forms.
Go get the mouse. Yeah. If you could. What was I fucking talking about?
I can't remember.
Really
This is very distracting. Kenny, he's a mad lad. He's a
Oh
hunter.
yeah, the girl got shot in the face.
Yeah,
it was the first time that somebody just got like shot in the show. Like somebody just died in that kind of sudden movie, you know, bam, shot in the face kind of
by
way.
another human, yeah.
Incidentally, I thought it was funny when those characters who die at that moment had been introduced with Hanji like at earlier in that episode, I think.
They're Hanji squad, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you just see Hanji and then suddenly there's 3 characters behind her and I was just like, oh, they're all dead today.
One
like,
of them is
here's our fresh blood.
One of them is Hanji's like attendant who's been with her like the entire.
Yeah.
That man is so marked for death. He is so marked for death right now. He doesn't even know. Poor bastard. His character design.
He goes like nothing. He's just.
Well, no, that guy's still alive.
Oh, he didn't get shot. The other 2 just got killed?
The 2 get killed by Kenny immediately. One is with Hanji away from danger here. And I'm just saying that man is marked by the specter of death.
Not Goggles guy.
Goggles is dead, and then girl with red hair also died. Guy with like kind of bowl cut parted in the middle. That guy's still alive, but not for long. There's no way he's lasting. He's too generic
'Cause
looking.
I think Goggles guy had been around.
Yeah,
I think he was part of Goggles Girls Squad from earlier, right? Or no, everybody from
Everybody
her squad
died in that, I think.
Yeah, she's still around though, I think.
We haven't seen
Or
her, but
maybe
she survived. Yeah, she survived.
Okay. It's getting hard to keep track of who's alive or dead if they're not in the main
The ones
cast.
who really matter are the main cast, and everybody else is well, you know, is fairly interchangeable. But I think we'll get into some military police stuff soon.
At this
and
point,
whatnot.
anytime I see a character I haven't seen in a while, I assume they're about to die. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
It's just no other reason.
So, but this also marks, like you were saying, seeing a character get just shot in the face and die, it marks the shift that we're experiencing. And I love that this is done at the same time as like, oh, the government corruption. Our characters are now grappling with the fact that they have to fight other humans. And this is kind of the thing done in episode 1, I think, of this new season, might have been episode 2, where they're fighting other humans now. And like you were saying, Armin has to kill a woman. She's about to kill Jean by shooting him in the face because he chickens out in killing her when he had the chance. And it's this escalation, like who's gonna not be the pussy at the top,
Right.
who actually pulls the trigger?
Well,
and it was Armin of all people.
And then Levi gives an Levi, I guess, gives an amazing
Levi, I
speech
don't know.
to Armin about how, because Armin's like feels bad for a moment,
Yeah.
and Levi's like, nah, man, if you hadn't done that, one of us would be dead, so literally thank you. And then Jean kind of is like, oh, well, now I feel bad that I didn't shoot. And Levi's, well, it's not that you didn't make the right choice. Like, there's no right or wrong choice. I'm just glad that Armin made the choice he did. You know?
I love that. I love the way that conversation sounds like Levi's doing a big moralizing speech. But then when Jean says that, Levi's like, I've never claimed to be a hero or even correct. I'm just doing what I gotta do because I know a certain set of facts. I'm operating within them. These guys appear to be working for a corrupt government. I'm not gonna let them stop me in my mission to protect the people I care about. I think it's reasons like this that, like, I'm really impressed by Levi as a character. He has not.
This
I
was the
expected
first
to hate
scene where
him.
I actually cared about him.
I thought he was
Like,
going to be a big cringe lord because everybody loves him so much, but no, he's just a really great character.
I mean, I think people loved him long before this point just on the basis of, like,
strongest humans,
being
too
cool.
powerful.
He's just cool. He's just a cool guy. But, like, yeah, now he's actually, like, I'm like, oh, this guy's actually a good leader, you know?
Yeah, and he doesn't think that he's like some saint on a holy quest or whatever.
No.
He's a man with mortal needs and doubt in himself just a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I really like that. But so, I mean, we get a really amazing cut of fighting animation of Levi evading like 20 troops all under the command of Kenny here, who is the top dog who, you know, we're learning he trained apparently Levi to everything he knows, you know, quote unquote. And, you know, he's fighting with guns. Levi's doing his best with a couple of swords and like different equipment. We get a really cool standoff in the bar like this and just a bunch of awesome stuff. Levi does manage to escape.
Also, he drops the name Levi Ackerman.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice that. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
see,
Kenny
that's one of
calls
those
him
things.
Levi Ackerman.
I knew that, but I've been suppressing that information because it seemed relevant. Who else do we know named Ackerman? It's Mikasa, of course.
Ooh, they also both have black hair and
They have black
slanty
hair,
eyes.
and they both are super powerful people.
Yes, they're the two
Interesting
strongest
facts.
people in the world.
Yep.
We're gonna learn that Japanese people are like literally superhumans, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, the
as
answer is yes.
a person who identifies as Japanese and always, including physical, I am a samurai warrior. I can confirm we are the strongest people on the planet. Yamato Banzai.
どちびのネズミのよ見つけた憲兵様が悪党を殺しに来たぜバンバンなんだいねえのかよ
So next events that are happening is that our characters, having saved our some of the guys who were kidnapped by the merchants, Levi like interrogates them to get information, and they kind of make an alliance with like the leader of the merchant guild, who did in fact kidnap our characters, and one of his workers molested Armin, but they're not like that bad, I guess. So we're gonna work with them for the higher purpose of finding out like who's trying to kill us, why they're doing it, how we can get you know, Eren and Historia back, and all that good plot relevant stuff. So by using their connections there, they capture two of these military police guys who, by the way, just definitely are confirmed by Hanji to have murdered my boy, best character, Pastor Nick. Yes. Big dick Pastor Nick never had an ounce of fear. No, that's not true. He had fear. He overcame it with his love of Jesus. And that's honorable.
They tore all this motherfucker's fingernails off.
And he didn't talk.
They tortured him to death. Levi's like, you know, if they pull off more than one fingernail, like if they pull off one and they don't talk, they're not gonna talk.
And he did not
There's no
talk.
way this guy talked if they fucking tortured him.
An
all the way.
OG to the end, Pastor Nick. What a bad motherfucker. But I mean, you know, Hanji does her little thing of being a little detective.
She was pissed off about it. She says in front of the guy who did it, knowing that he did it, like, I'm gonna find the guy who did it and I'm gonna make sure he dies slowly and painfully, and then walks off. And then they capture those guys and start torturing them. And,
Doing exactly what they did to them,
The methodology is fantastic because they're torturing the guy, and it's Hanji and Levi, and he's like, oh, I've never seen people enjoying torture so much, you're monsters. And they're like, well, we're not getting anything out of you. So they go off with the buddy, and they're like, oh man, almost feel bad for the guy. And then the friend's like, nah, fuck him, he's a piece of shit. And the dude's like, what?
Well,
I
it's a
can't
little
believe
more
it.
complicated than that.
Broken, but no, actually, she's showing him a script. Whoa, it turns out he's fucking double-crossing, well,
they use some 10,000 IQ maneuvers to make him think the other guy confessed so that he'll confess.
Yeah.
Very big brain plans. Yeah,
by breaking his spirit, by making him think all his buddies think he's not cool.
And I love the whole torture scene here because the whole point of this arc, you know, by them now having human blood on their hands and whatnot, it's all about how, like, our characters are becoming kind of monsters themselves, but in pursuit of what they deem to be the right thing to do.
Well, and there's a scene where Armin's like, there's another good speech where he says, like, things are different now. We're now killing people because they're on a different side from us.
Right.
Not for survival, not just to protect our friends, but because we're in disagreement. And so, like, now we can't say we're the good guys anymore. And all I could think was, that was obviously always true, and at some point we're going to realize why why killing Titans was also the same. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's
we already know every Titan, there's a human being inside, and we know that it is theoretically possible to pull that human back out.
I don't know if we know that every Titan. I think only abnormals have been said to have humans in them so far.
I think in one of the infographics it says that, like, they theorize that all of them. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure every Titan stemmed from a human originally. I mean, look at Connie's mom was, you know, like a weird thing.
Right. I thought she might have been considered an abnormal, but I'm not sure.
I don't
Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference because, like,
Yeah.
at first abnormal meant like huge and powerful, and now it just means, like, I don't know, a little weirder. Like,
It's kind of a vague term that doesn't mean a ton, but no matter. In any case, I mean, I'm really enjoying this arc of watching them go down the path. And I mean, we spend some time with Erwin later on, who's just full on now, missing an arm, but still being a badass as forever. He's under arrest, and he's just saying we need to take down the government. And at the same time, the military police is operating against him by, like, murdering people and framing Erwin and the Survey Corps as the responsible ones. And the Survey Corps gets disbanded officially during this time.
Yeah, who was it that they murdered the rich guy from episode 1 who had been blocking the stairwell with his giant cart of goods.
Well, that's the merchant they're working with. Yeah.
Turns out that merchant, actually, after he did make it through, was using all those goods to help the community and rebuild.
Yeah.
So he was actually a good guy, I guess. Too bad he got his fucking throat slit.
He sure did. He said in episode 1, or episode 2, whenever that was, when that happened, he said, like, these goods are worth more than your lives. Maybe he was making a purely utilitarian argument. I can save more lives with these goods than will die.
That seemed to be almost what they were suggesting here, is that, like, he was, you know, he just had a really dumb way of going about a really good thing he was trying to do.
His optics were terrible, but the goal was fairly noble, I guess. And rip to that guy, though his son is still out there kicking, so I don't know what kind of arc that guy is going to get, but he seems to be highlighted enough that I expect.
I didn't even catch that somehow, but...
No matter.
So they got killed, and Erwin's going against government. Also, the entire Survey Corps was arrested.
Yep.
So I guess there's not going to be any more surveying for Titans. Sometimes we've gotten to a point where things are actually kind of happening fast enough that I want them to take a step back and just re-explain exactly where everyone is in relationship to each other. Because like the allegiances are changing fast. Like
the fact that every single Survey Corps member just got arrested, except for our handful of guys who are like out in the woods. You know, Eren and Historia are captured by the enemy right now, and I don't know, like a couple other people.
How exactly did they get captured again?
Well, they were just snagged. Oh, someone with a very well placed. Because Eren's a Titan shifter, it's going to be really hard to capture him with a super expertly placed like
tranquilizer
dart
I think
to
it was
the neck.
him. I think he got them, right?
If it was him, at least I could be like, okay, that guy.
He might have been the one who shot the bullets at least.
In any case, that's what they did, so Eren couldn't transform. And we do see him like tied up with a thing in his mouth, so he can't shift at least. So okay, we got that covered. Makes sense to me.
And then I guess we also learn again about how Historia's queen. She should be the queen. Her mom was eliminated. Her dad basically like made a deal to have her not be killed, I guess. And now he's got her again, and he's all like, all I wanted to do was get you back. And you're kind of like, this guy doesn't seem trustworthy. Seems like he's probably going to get killed pretty soon.
And they've got Historia here. They've also got Eren, and there's a talk of like, we're going back to the place where it all began. That's an intriguing idea. And there's also discussion of they're going to eat Eren. So the plan here seems to involve eating Eren in some capacity. So that will be exciting to see what happens with that.
One of the good things about this show is that it sets up like a lot of possibilities that all seem reasonable and kind of lets you, like, it chooses one and you're like, okay, well, I would have believed that they were going to try to eat him or that someone else is going to swoop in and try to do something else with him. Like,
and by the way, this isn't bad, but I will just point out the narrative convenience, as I love to do, that just as our character's goal becomes let's literally overthrow the government. It just so happens, and I'm sure this is why Eren's plan formulated this way, or Commander Erwin's plan formulated this way. It just so happens that the king that everyone believes in is in fact a fraud, or isn't the real king, and one of our main characters is the true heir to the throne, who, in a totally zero bloodshed way, should be able to be installed. That's very lucky that is the case, because otherwise we'd have to have a really bloody and complicated war, as most other situations would dictate. But I don't care at all. It's good for the narrative, so I'm happy.
Yeah, so I guess the mission is now kill the king?
I guess kill the fake king, and I guess kill the real king, Rod Reese, too. They call him the Rod for a reason, with all these bastard children running around, and make Historia the real queen, I guess. Okay.
Wait, so is Historia's dad the real king?
Apparently.
Okay, I missed that.
Because we see the fake king, and I'm wondering, what's that guy's deal? Why is there a fake king? And
what's up with that?
This is the funny thing. Like, it seemed like they could have just made this plot simply be, there's a king, he had a bastard daughter who he hid away somewhere. They've added this extra layer of, there was a fake king. Was that just to be like a body double in case someone tried to assassinate him, that like Rod would be protected and the real royal family wouldn't be hurt?
I do not know.
Logistically, I'm curious as to like why they chose to do that in universe, but whatever, it works for our purposes, so that's all fine.
Also, wait, hold on. Yeah, are Erwin and Levi still working together?
Definitely. Well, they're not in communication, I don't think, but they have the same goals of saving Eren and Krista, or Historia. I believe that's the case. Although Hanji's relaying messages between the two teams, I think. So they're in some kind of contact. And that pretty much is where we leave things. I guess just for the extra note, we see like in the backstory, who was the person who happened to murder Historia's mom? It was, in fact, Kenny himself, who's been apparently working for the king for many years now, or the secret king.
Kung Fu Kenny.
So he's being deeper ingrained into our narrative, having done important things. That's all fine. There will be stakes during the big final battle, I'm sure, between these guys. And I don't know, I guess I'm just looking forward to see where it goes. This was a hype-ass beginning of Season 3.
I'm excited to see people get eaten by Titans, as usual.
Yeah, I kind of think this might be the best season yet. I thought Season 2 was just like basically killed it the whole time. But this so far I think is even better.
I would say that like episode 1, I liked that they reestablished everything. When they started to have like the long political dialogues, I was like, okay. Like on the one hand, I guess I consider Attack on Titan a plot that I find intriguing and somewhat engaging. But I don't find it like at all times engaging, where like I'm always like gripped by what they're talking about. Sometimes the conversations are just to set things up for something that's going to matter later. And like, that's fine. Those are the parts where I kind of am like, all right, I guess the show has to have all this. Some of it can be a little bit repetitive, where characters are like re-explaining something or going back over the same information, but that can also be helpful because sometimes I do need them to do it.
Yeah.
Overall, I just think it's good. It's just like a good, this is like, Attack on Titan is so weirdly like just my idea of good TV, of like what I think people generally want from TV, which is obviously why it's so fucking popular.
Right.
But just like something that has like enough stuff that you have to keep track of that like it's kind of fun to just try to keep track of it, you know, and try to predict it and try to be like, ooh, am I ahead of or am I behind this narrative, you know, like.
Yeah, and you know, Isayama, I think that's his name, Isayama, that's their author,
Hajime
right?
Isayama.
Hajime Isayama, yeah. Like I was saying, or like I've said in previous episodes, like this is a fairly early work. This is like his first very popular work.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, I don't think he's not the most like technically skilled writer, and that's why I think, like I'm pointing out that like, it sure is convenient that we happen to have this like secret royal family that will make this plot point he's obviously getting toward of installing a new queen like very convenient and able to happen without like dealing with the logistical challenge of writing an entire civil war into the narrative. He wants to skip that. And like that's fine. I don't blame him for that. But like I notice when he's kind of taken a couple shortcuts to do that, other than what would like almost always be the case in like every other story, like in something like the War of the Roses, a Final Fantasy Tactics type story, any of that kind of thing. You know that what issues come with that, but it gets to its point very well. So I think that might actually be one of the reasons why maybe somebody like me just might point out these things, but in general, it's just like more popular because it gets to the things people more care about on a wider scale. So it's probably a net positive that it does those kinds of things. And it'll be fun to see a new queen if that happens.
One more thing I wanted to bring up, because Historia has a really intense childhood. Her mom did not speak to her at all.
Her first words were, "I wish I had the courage to kill you," if I remember correctly.
Yes, those were the exact words, which is fucking great. And she like grabs her by the face and throws her.
And she
for
bled
touching
from
her.
that too.
Yeah.
Jesus, that grip
And then
strength.
smiles about it because she's like, "Oh, mom actually touched me, so yay."
That's a particularly bizarre childhood.
I'm really wondering, like, Hajime Isayama, like, I wanna sit down with this dude and be like, so do you have anything you need to talk about? Like, anything you maybe happened to you when you were a kid?
We invite you to the KHANTEHNT studio. Join us for an episode.
Everyone in this show has like the most fucked up upbringing they could. Like everything is so intense, and the fact that, like you said, the artwork is kind of like when he started, he was not an amazing artist or writer. It's just like the strength of the ideas and some of the imagery, like the big scene of Eren punching the Titan in the face. When you see it in the manga, the anatomy is completely fucked.
Yeah.
But like it's still from that awesome angle. Like that was copied from the manga. It still sells just based on like, you know, how intense it looks. And I just think that the Hajime Isayama seems like somebody with a really intense life to have written a manga like this.
And you know, the one last note I've got for this section is that like we're coming right up on the end of when I stopped reading the manga. And just like I was with season 2, I'm enjoying this like way more than I did in the manga. I remember feeling like, oh my god, who are these fucking new characters? Who's Kenny? I don't know this guy.
I kind of felt like that with Kenny. I was kind of like, why? Well, just especially I was mad that like we had a whole fucking backstory OVA and he wasn't brought up at all. And then he shows up and it's just like, Kenny! What's going on?
They had to keep Kenny for the story. So yeah, a bit of an awkward fit there. But I mean, I'm pretty pumped to see what the fuck's gonna happen with Eren and Historia, and to get beyond that, because while I do know some spoilers of what happens later on, I don't know the details, and I can't wait to see them. I mean, I was watching some of the preview clips for like stuff that happens in season 3 that I have no idea about, and looks fucking sick. I want to see Titans fighting. I want to see people go in sicko mode, and there's gonna be quite a bit of that as I understand it. So stay tuned for the next day of Titan Week, damn you! Bonus Titan Week episode about Titan things is available if you go to subscribestar.com/KHANTEHNT and send us clips and whatnot to end episodes, things like that. See you tomorrow.